Hey everybody, I'm finally back. I'm still in Florida shooting the movie Fall Away. Haven't been able to get much from the set because it's top secret, a lot of NDA, can't reveal the plot exposure. But I'm here with my friend Cody Chilson of combatcollege.org and also of Dark Phoenix Combatives. I'm going to leave all his info in the description where you can get a hold of him and learn more. But I figured a lot of my viewers are travelers and they watch me for my travel videos and stuff like that. Half the viewers watch me for travel, the other half wants to see me get punched in the face. So I figured, what a great idea. Let's do a self-defense video or self-defense tips for travelers around the world who are probably unarmed, possibly inexperienced and untrained. And I asked my friend Cody if he would offer some tips and advice and maybe some basic techniques to help you in your travels around the world.
Would you resist or just give up? Resist, of course. Well, that's exactly what we've done.
I think a lot of the way that especially young people travel these days, you know, they're backpacking, they're hostels, you know, they're riding buses. I was thinking just on the way over here, like, if you get into a situation where, you know, you have to run, you know, as a, you know, which would be the primary choice if you're ever in a life and death situation or even like a self-defense situation. If you have the ability to run, you want to run. But if you have your big, you know, 40-pound pack on, you would probably want to drop that so you can run quicker, right? So I usually, you know, it goes against common. What a lot of people advise is don't ever have your passport on you, don't ever have your stuff on you. But, you know, when I was traveling around India, Southeast Asia, I always kept that thing right in my fleece, zipped up right by my heart. And like, if I had to drop my bag for any reason, like I can get all the clothes back, you know, but if I drop that 40-pound bag, I can run a lot quicker. And I was also thinking that bag, if reversed and put on the front against a blade or any type of attack, you can use it as a barrier to push away and then kind of push away and then drop it and run. What do you think about, do you think that's an effective strategy? Or?
Yeah, so we'll do classes where we'll train like sword and shield, which is an old school Filipino style, you know, weapons tactics for tribal warfare, right? And somebody inevitably will say, well, that's not practical. Like, where am I going to find a shield? Where am I going to find a sword and all that? And then instantly, I'll pick up a backpack, put it on, and I can either pull out a folder, or I can pull out a tactical baton, or even a rolled up newspaper, and then bring my backpack around, and now I've got a sword and shield, and the tactics are exactly the same. And so when it comes down to the utilization of these weapons, it's the same as it was back, you know, centuries ago. You just have to find like objects. So a backpack with, you know, you can get things with ballistic shielding in them. You can put your own shielding in something. If you put wire mesh or something in the front of that pocket there, and you bring it around, now you can resist any kind of slicing attacks or anything like that.
Shaolin Kung Fu, to survive, must now be taught to more young men. We must expand, get more pupils.
They must forget American rules of good sportsmanship for the present. To save their lives, they must fight foul, just like their opponents fight.
Cape Coral, Florida with my friend Cody Chilson, combatcollege.org, Dark Phoenix Combatives. We're just talking about some techniques for travelers on improvised weapons, self-defense, and stuff like that. And we had kind of touched on it before, but in terms of readily available improvised weapons, we'd mentioned like just a basic Bic pen or tactical pen if you can get it through airport security. We talked about the sarong. We talked about, what else did we talk about? Like a rolled up magazine or newspaper. And then I think you also touched on the belt. So with those four kind of readily available improvised weapons in a self-defense scenario while you're traveling abroad, maybe we could talk about some techniques, some basic techniques, and some techniques for those weapons for the viewers.
Absolutely.
I'd like to try you, Wu-Tang style. Let's begin then.
We almost forgot one of the most prevalent improvised weapons out there today, especially for travelers, is the selfie stick. Everyone nowadays has a selfie stick, and I actually had brought two different types of selfie sticks with me, and we were just shooting some wide stuff with the selfie stick, and we saw the difference between a cheaply made, it was longer, but it wasn't as strong, and it actually came apart while he was doing some of the technique. And then I had a shorter one that was much beefier. So, you know, something else to think of when you're buying your selfie sticks, you know, think of self-defense applications. If you're in a jam, a selfie stick could be a very effective weapon.
Let me show you some basic centerline blocking principles. These are basic things. They're not things that are going to be high-end. They have, just like anything, there's not right or wrong. There's pros and cons, right? This specific system I'm going to show you, it's very simple. It comes from kabuto, which is the Japanese style of improvised weaponry, where you see things like bow staff, nunchaku, sai, tanfa, kama, those kinds of things, right? And so the thing to keep in mind too is that styles are not necessarily right or wrong. You have to take into fact the land they come from and why they're used. Part of the reason I'm going to show you what we're going to show today is a lot of the Japanese movements are designed to move somebody away. They're easily learned and they rely on force that you already have in your body, as opposed to also being able to protect yourself in closed spaces, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the basics of it, and it's going to be portable to every weapon that you have. It's just a matter of understanding the length of your weapon, okay, and how to pick up the slack depending on the characteristics of it, all right? And we're going to talk about that a little bit. Something rigid can just be held this way. Something that's flexible like a belt, if I had out like this and something hit it, it would fold. So I'd have to make little adjustments to account for those things. So we'll go over those. Okay, key points that I'm looking for when I'm grabbing this way. This can be used with anything, single hand or double hand. I'm looking for what they call center line control. What that means is I don't allow the inside center line. If I was to draw a line from the top of my head down to the floor, all my vital organs run on that, on my spine, right? All the good stuff that people would want to hit you in because it either causes bad injury or instant death runs here. So what we do is this concept called natural guard. In FCS Kali, we call it natural guard, or you'll hear called center line control in Wing Chun Kung Fu, right? Which is I don't ever expose that. So the first kind of a block we're going to do is called a contact block. I'm going to go shoulder width apart, just like this. And very simply, I'm going to come up and I'm going to block with the center of the weapon, okay? Just like this. If I'm going high, I'm coming up this way. If I'm going low, it's a small shift down. Okay, I don't come out, back, then down. I'm just keeping it out in front of me to block. I have up, I have down, I have side. And the thing about side is when I go from side to side, I do it this way. Because if I did this, I'm open, high, and low, then I'm closed. I want to go from closed, not closed to open to closed. Okay, so high, low, middle, middle. A small detail on this side. The reason I'm blocking this way is my right foot is forward, so I'm blocking this way. If I had to go low, I could block over my kneecap. If I was doing it the other way, it'd be really awkward to come around this way as opposed to being here. Okay, if I switched my feet, I would block it this way, right? And then I would shave across my center line like this. It's classical bow technique. Okay, I have strikes built in this way. I have strikes built in left and right. And I can always let go and strike. Downward X, upward X. Strikes into blocks. Downward X, this hand. I have downward X with the buckle this end. If I go longer, I get more flexibility, but flexibility and stability are two opposite ends. So now, I've got more reach, I've got more whip, but what I lose is the ability to block the same way, right? So I can't necessarily do this and get away with it. So if I was going to do this, I would have to move my body at the same time because the energy is going to pass through and I can grab like this. I carry my pen in a place where I can access it. If it's deep inside of my pocket and I get into a scuffle with somebody in close, I don't want to have to go. That's my lunch money, there's a 20, there's my phone. Okay, I'm ready because it's going to be over. So you can clip it right here on the side, or you can clip it on your pocket, or you can clip it on your waistband, or wherever it is. What you want to, though, is it's not a pen, it's a weapon pen. Okay, I want to be able to get to it real quick, boom, and to shoot out with it immediately. So same thing here, okay? I can block this way. Now notice when I block, the tip is pointing towards the person coming in. If it's not, then I can't really utilize it. I'm going to have to start hitting with my fist. Here, and I can thrust off that line. 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 Okay, downward X, right? But with this weapon, read your weapon. If I hit somebody this way, it's not a blade. Yeah, it's annoying, but the damage is going to come from that same line being a thrust. So instead of that, I would turn my hand and thrust it. So as I'm here, I'm thinking about bringing it into the body, hooking motions. this way. But still not doing this, doing these kinds of motions where I'm covered.
I'm going to chop off your arms. So are you ready?
Before you do the set with the magazine, I just want to show the viewers how much this hurts, and I'm going to take one for the team, and I want you to give me a good one right on my thigh with the magazine.
Sure.
I'm positive. Go for it. Just stay away from my balls. Okay. What about like a baton? Yeah. Ooh, yeah. I mean, that'll get your attention. That like upside the temple or definitely that'll get your attention. A rolled up magazine. So it's no joke.
And people think like it's a magazine. Wow, big deal, right? But I'm also a paramedic, and I've also seen people like hit in the eye this way real hard with a magazine, and I've seen them lose their eye. So it actually does have some applicability. My primary defense is me, not my weapon. It's just an extension of me. So I'm guarding. Once I get to my weapon, it's here. I can have it reverse here with all the same blocks. Scooping, I can use that as a scoop, right? I can prayer switch it, do all the same stuff. Okay, more of a thrusting thing, right? This is annoying. Okay, what I'm looking for with this kind of a weapon is this is something I would use against a blade if I had nothing. I'd be smacking at the person's hand, I'd be passing the blade with it, trying to get to something better, right? Ideally reaching for my gun, but if I don't have my gun, then going for a blade if I don't have my blade. My fists are involved in this too. I can parry something and punch somebody in their face, and it's gonna feel just the same as if I had quarters, right? Because that's not gonna be as nasty as that, but what it gives me is it gives me distance between me and my meat suit or my flesh and the person's blade or the person's weapon, right? So I have punches on all of these weapons. Downward X, prayer switch, blocking, middle, low, high. Okay, and your primary defense is always going to be to move. So I don't want to sit there like this. Okay, I can sit there like this, and then if it comes through, I need to be able to move my body and get out of the way. Because I don't want to contend for space. I want to move and exit.
Very good.
Thank you, Elder.
You have passed this obstacle.
Thanks again, Cody, for showing us everything you showed us today. I really appreciate it. CombatCollege.org, Dark Phoenix Combatives, FCS Kali. I'm going to throw a link to Cody's, all his information, social media, his YouTube channel, Facebook pages. I'm going to put them in the description. If you get a chance to train with him, do it. Cody Chilson, he's the man. Thanks, Cody.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Infamous.